Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Little Guys Home Technology Live Stream Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by AudioQuest, Integra, and Golden Ear. 3 companies dedicated to high-performance audio. Getting you the best sound possible is their goal. 3 actually great companies.
We really are.
To be honest. And add the Little Guys, that makes 4. So
that's true.
There you go. I'm David.
And I'm Evie. Excuse me. We have a store. It's located at 19031 South Old LaGrange Road, where Mokina meets I-80. It's just south of, this is David's thing, south of Orland Park, west of Tinley Park, east of Frankfurt, and New Lenox. So you know all the surrounding communities. I am
going to find a
but
town
you don't
that they
know Mokina. Everyone knows Mokina.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you just exit I-80 south and go down to 191st, make a left at the light, get in the far left lane, make a left at the light, and then you make an almost immediate left right between the Denny's and the White Castle. And, you know, we're straight ahead. We're open Monday through Thursday from 10 until 6, Friday and Saturday from 10 until 5, and we're closed on Sunday. We make house calls all over Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Michigan. You know, it's a good idea to have some dialogue with us. Give us a call. Tell us what you're thinking or sort of what you want to do. But we can come out and look for wire paths and things like that.
Go over some concepts and ideas,
Sure.
You know, kind of figure out what it is you're trying to do. But it's, at least for me, I find it more beneficial to get you in the store first, sit and have some general discussions, show you, because then I can take you to things and show you stuff, and we can show you the different control systems, the different speakers, the different options.
Right, and you can look at some televisions and you can listen to some systems. I mean, speakers are a really personal thing. One person will absolutely be in love with the speaker. The next person will hate it. So, you know, we have different types of speakers and you should listen. And, you know, it's just a good idea to know what's out there and what's available. Yeah. You know, it's hard to make a decision when you're not aware of what is out there.
So you can email us anytime at
info@thelittleguys.com, and you can go on our website and sign up for our emails and the podcast and whatnot. And then we are live streaming on Facebook. If you like us on Facebook, you will see our live stream.
Yeah, please like us on Facebook.
Hopefully,
connect with us on
every
Facebook,
Wednesday.
whatever the right thing to say is. Hey, we were really excited. We got in the new Sony 4K OLED sets. We've been anticipating this for a while, or waiting for a while. We've been selling LG OLED for some time, and people seem to really like it when they walk in the store and see the picture. We love Sony televisions, and we're all about Sony, but they didn't have OLED until now. And because people asked for it, they said, first of all, they invented it. Right, they created it, the OLED in the very first place.
That's true.
So,
that is true.
And then decided not to bring it to market consumer-wise. They sort of did that once before with beta machines, and they did bring that to the market consumer-wise. But then VHS sort of took over.
And we know what happened.
So anyway, the new Sony OLED 65-inch is on display. Pretty soon, the next day or so, we'll get the 55 out as well. It is amazing.
These TVs are so stunning. Yeah. I guess is what you would say. We first saw these in January at the Consumer Electronics Show, and it's like trying to keep your hand over your mouth to not talk about them because they are so incredible.
It is gorgeous. I mean, the black is black. I was just watching there was a concert on, and the guy had the first guy had on like a purple leather jacket, and you could see the texture and the crinkles in the leather, right, in the purple, which is a little easier to do. And then the other guy had on a black, like a tux, and with a vest, and they were a little bit off shades. The shades were a little different, and the little creases and the material was different. You could just see all the little details in the black level. The color is unbelievable. And I'm just talking about watching a regular Comcast broadcast, not a 4K Blu-ray or anything like that. Put on the 4K Blu-ray. Oh my God, it is unbelievable. I mean, I often get, really pumped up and excited about new speakers and sound and Dolby Atmos and that kind of thing. And video, I like good video, but it's not like it's not the thing that pushes me over the top. But it is truly stunning. I mean, it is gorgeous. 2 sizes, 55, 65. At some point, there'll be a 77 later in the summer. That'll be priced up there a little bit. That'll be, kind of high. But the 55 and 65 are extremely competitive with the other product that's in the marketplace that's OLED. And the fact is, exceptional performance. So you have all the benefit of OLED and all the benefit of Sony video processing combined in one unit. There's some very unique features on it. For example, there's no speaker in the television.
Correct.
Technically, right? There's no actual speaker, but the whole screen acts as a speaker. So the sound radiates from the front and the screen. It's amazing what they've done.
I know when they said that, they explained it to me before they showed it to us, and I'm thinking that picture's got to be jittering all over the place, right. But it's not. It's rock solid.
It's amazing. It's totally amazing, and so they have a little subwoofer built into them, and they look a little. The bass is a little different than the traditional bass. They're pretty low profile. They go low to the stand that they're sitting on. They mount on the wall just like any other TV would mount on the wall, so that's no issue. And it seems like that's where about 70-75% of the TVs we're putting in are going anyway.
Right.
And just all that aside, truly it's just like a stunning image floating on the wall. It's awesome. It's truly awesome. So come in and see those. We'll play a Blu-ray for you if you want. We have Comcast hooked up using a little TiVo box. We have Comcast hooked up. We also have Dish Network. If you want to see Dish Network, we can play anything for you. So whatever you want to see, we'll be glad to show it to you. And seriously, this TV is worth the trip by itself to just see the picture.
That's, an important point that you said. We have it on Comcast and we have it on Dish. We also have some of the TVs on just an antenna on the roof. It's important when you're going to look for a TV, you go to the big box stores and, even the Targets and the Walmarts of the world, and all the TVs look the same. They're all playing some 4K computer-generated incredible picture that makes them look absolutely the best they can be.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be watching that when you get home. You're going to be watching over-the-air antenna or Comcast or Dish or DirecTV or, one of those things. And you really should see what the TV is going to look like on that.
Yep.
And, the regular programs that you watch, what are those going to look like? Those are not 4K computer generated, but they do look fabulous, by the way, on these Sony TVs. But
that's because the video processing is better. It's about the quality of the video processing, the X1 and the X1 Pro, the actual processing capability of this television, which has a little computer in it, basically, and the ability of it to interpret video and to anticipate color and to create all the variety of colors that are out there. It's awesome. So enough said. Come on in, check it out. And
I've really been waiting.
We're
going to
get somebody. We're going to get somebody from Sony on the podcast. We're going to try for next week, but certainly in the next few weeks, we'll get somebody from Sony to come out, sit down with us, go over the details of it, go over LED, go over their philosophy on OLED versus LED, standard LED.
But in the meantime, just come on in and see it. It's pretty cool.
The discussion will be over.
Yeah.
You'll find a way to pay for it. That's for sure. And they've got Sony's.
And we have 6 months interest-free financing.
Actually, even longer on the Sony.
Oh, Sony has financing
there's
too.
creative financing on the Sony, so even longer if that's what you want to do. So last week we talked about the options when building a new home or adding an addition or remodeling an existing home, about being prepared for today's and tomorrow's technology as best you can be. We talked about all the things to consider, like network and control and lighting and HVAC and security, doorbells, and of course audio and video and distributing it and how you're going to get it to the different places. And then a couple of things came up in this past week that I think were just classic examples of
why you do this research beforehand.
Of why you do the research and of not being prepared.
Right.
And for assuming that you knew, somebody knew what they were doing when it came to wiring. And it's also an example of waiting too long to get to the little guys. So come to us in advance of your concepts or your plans. I mean, tell us when you're starting to plan this thing. That doesn't mean you have to buy it now. but at least let's have a discussion now about what things you should consider and what needs to be in place. So we had a really nice woman call and then stop in after we talked to her on the phone for a while. She stopped in and she wanted to get an outdoor TV. And by the way, that's something that's becoming more and more popular now, as well as more affordable.
Yes.
I mean, the pricing has gotten super, super reasonable, especially with the addition of the new series from Sunbright that's made for under a cover, under roof outdoors. So if you have a 3-season room or a gazebo or something that
a screened-in porch.
Yeah,
maybe,
something where there's a roof and there's not direct sunlight, kind of thing. They made even a less expensive series, which is kind of cool. So, all right. So the lady comes in and we go over all the options. And we kind of figure out what size she wants, and we come up with a plan. And she explained to us that her husband had already wired for this thing and was all ready to go. The electrical was out there, and he wired for the the hookup and all that kind of a thing. And then upon closer examination and further detailed discussion, it turns out that he ran a coaxial cable out to the TV location. That's it. So unless you're going to put the non-outdoor rated cable box / satellite receiver outside,
right?
Horrible idea. And by the way, any outdoor enclosure for those devices is questionable as well because
those things barely work inside.
They heat up.
Yes.
Right? So they heat up. So that's an issue. It's questionable. It's not that it can't be done, and in an emergency we've done it, but the reality is it's not a great idea. So now what do? He's got a coax running out there. So there is such a thing as HDMI over coax, right? There is a way to do it, but it's not the ideal situation.
No.
It's certainly not our first choice. And all it would have took was one phone call. One phone call. Let's have a discussion. Buying nothing, no commitment.
Right. He was running the wire anyway.
Right. Just now you could pull the Cat 6 out to that location to be prepared. And actually, from my perspective, I pull 2 Cat 6s at every location. You got one now that you can convert to HDMI, maybe for control, maybe for something else, and then you got a second one there just in case.
Yep.
Who knows what's going next? And you could have pulled a coax there if you wanted to. It turned out, it didn't hurt anything, but I didn't really accomplish anything either. So, so that wouldn't be the end of the world if it was on the side of the house and the wire was just run inside the wall and whatever. But it turns out it's buried, 150 feet away, right, and through all buried and all, the landscaping's in, and so we can still fix it, we can still make it right, but it could have been so easy. And it turns out it's not going to be so easy.
Maybe they can hire a mole
to dig down.
Dig down and drag the wire, the extra wire.
I know where there's a couple they could have. I'll tell
I know.
You that.
They're sure making a mess of my yard.
So again, a simple pre-wire would have just saved a lot of heartache. So that was I think it was actually Thursday of last week or Friday of last week, and then on Saturday, a guy comes in and his builder pre-wired his house.
Don't worry. I got it covered.
I've got you
pre-wired.
covered. I've got your surround sound system. And he did some other things in some of the other rooms that weren't great, but that we easily can overcome. But the surround sound speakers that were going in the ceiling, the rear speakers are all the way in the back of the room in the corner, directly in the corners. I mean, literally, virtually inches from the corner, the actual corner itself.
Okay. And it tends to be what builders do.
Push them off to the side.
Yes.
So not a great location for rear speakers, that's for sure.
No.
The center speaker isn't in the center. It's centered on the room, sort of, but not centered on where the TV is going to be. Now, with today's in-ceiling speakers, the tilt and aim and all the little level controls, you can make up for some of it.
You can overcome a little bit of that.
Why not just put it in the right place?
Well, that goes back to what I was talking about. You've got these plans for a house, or you've got, the frame is up or whatever, and you're trying to buy these things or get things that you're going to need. You have to decide where things are going to go. It's not always in the middle of the room where you're
especially tough with in-ceiling speakers on a 2-story house, because it's really tough to get that second chance to get back up there into the ceiling. Nothing's impossible, but short of destroying part of the ceiling and really cutting a lot of holes and doing some things that you need to do, it's usually not very practical. So
And it's added
It
expense.
was frustrating for him.
Yes.
And I understand. I totally get it, right? And we'll make it be the best it can be. But again, a little bit of, even if the builder wouldn't let us in the house or wouldn't let an outside contractor in the house, even if the builder insisted on pulling the wires himself, which sometimes happens, if we could have told him the right locations, if he would have just stopped in,
Right.
we could have told him the right locations. Don't rely on people who don't do this all the time for proper functionality, for having wires in the right place, for having networks wired correctly. You can't count on them. They're still using Cat 5 when they should be using Cat 6.
Right.
They're still, or maybe even Cat 7. There's just, they're not, oh, that was the other thing. The speaker wire that he pulled was, 16 gauge kind of generic speaker wire. Now, again, it's going to work. We're going to make it okay, but just, it's not what you would have ideally put into that situation, into the house.
Right, because this was something important to him. That was his big thing, is he was going to have this whole surround system. He was going to have music in these rooms. And, now he's running into additional expense and some heartache.
And again, we're going to fix it all. It's just could have all been avoided and at no extra cost to him. It wouldn't have cost him any more to put the wires in the right place.
No.
It wouldn't have cost him any more to have rough-in brackets for the speakers instead of wires popping through the hole. And a little wire hanging through the drywall kind of a thing.
Right.
It would have been way easier to have the holes already cut and centered and that kind of a thing. Not be 2 stud spaces off to the left. Anyway, so that was a second example in the same week, which was frustrating for me because I hate delivering bad news. I hate to be the one to tell a customer, this is a little goofed up. We need to kind of make it right or whatever. You feel terrible. Obviously I preface it with don't shoot the messenger, but it happens a lot. It happens a lot of times. The example of the coax, that's the classic. Over the fireplace, they put in the outlet for the power. I'd say about 70% of the time they remember the power, but they always pull a coax up to the back of the fireplace instead of pulling an HDMI or pulling Cat 6 so that we can make it HDMI, instead of doing the things that need to be done.
Or pulling a Cat 6 period, because all the TVs these days have internet connections.
And then also the coax isn't pulled to the location where the cable box is going to be.
Right.
Right? It's not in the spot where it's supposed to be because they just don't understand the concept of how it's going to work or where the components are going to be placed. And it's not a builder's fault.
Well, it is.
But they don't. It's not their fault. They don't know. It's just that they chose not to consult with somebody who does know. That is their fault. They should have talked to somebody who knows what they're doing and knows what's going on. And it's not their handyman. And the same guy who's sweeping up after the electricians and the plumbers and all those guys are done. The same guy who's putting in the doorbell for them. Running the wire for the doorbell kind of a thing. That's the guy who's deciding where the audio and video and networks, and it's just way beyond the scale of his, typically of his ability. There are exceptions to every rule. Sometimes you run into a guy who really knows what he's doing and everything's in the right place, and it was gorgeous, right? And we can come in, we can put the gear in, we can set it all up, and everything works. But it's pretty rare. It's more typical that we run into these obstacles, and it's frustrating for us, and it's extremely frustrating for you as customers, obviously, to have to deal with it or whatever.
Right. And you tend to find out about things are in the wrong place once the drywall's already up. Or, worse yet, you go out and buy all this equipment, and somebody comes to set it up, and it's like, we can't set this up. Nothing's in the right place.
Yeah, and it happens. And again, it's frustrating for us as well. It's not... It just makes our job much more complicated and much harder.
Right.
And again, we're friendly, we're easygoing, we're happy to have a discussion with you. You can bring in your plans. You can email us at info@thelittleguys.com. We'll look at your plans. We'll look at your pictures. We'll just have an in general discussion. We'll lay out some basic fundamentals that can create and save a whole lot of aggravation. That's for sure. And please do it. I can't express how important it is to have that stuff done in advance. The networks is also a big part of that. Having the right wires in the right locations so that we can put wireless access points in the right spots throughout the house to create a good, strong Wi-Fi platform that your portable devices can live on. and a good wired platform that your TVs and streaming computers and all the rest of the stuff can all live on as well.
Right. I mean, this is something else that the builders are sort of behind the times with. And in their defense, technology is racing. But, okay, you're going to have internet at your house. We're going to bring it to the office.
Yeah.
Nobody watches TV in the office. Nobody's playing games in the office. No one's just, they might be streaming music in the office, but that doesn't do you any good if you're in the kitchen.
Right.
So there's a lot more involved in having a good network.
Yeah, it's just really critical, and it's just short-sighted not to have those discussions in advance. That's all. And it's not just building a new home. If you're putting on an addition, if you're remodeling, if you're just redecorating a room completely or whatever, now's the time to have those discussions, because we can, an extra hole in the drywall somewhere that can be patched up and made to look like it was never there,
right.
Can be done now, much easier than after the painters are all done or the wallpaper's in, that's for sure. It's smart to give us that opportunity to get at it and fix it up. There's a lot of really cool technology out there. There's a lot of great concepts that are out there now. We talked about last week. We talked about all the cool control and the ability to do things. We just updated our system to Control 4, and we're still getting a little bit. Even though I do it every day for customers, I'm still getting a little bit the hang of our own system,
yes.
right? Which is a little bit
yes,
unique.
I am too.
And hitting the right buttons for the right things, and those kind of things. But already, I don't have to turn on my projector to listen to Pandora.
Right.
Where on the old system, I had to turn on the projector, go to the thing, highlight it, find out where
and
it
then
was.
Turn off the projector, and let me tell you, those lamps are expensive.
And everything's already on the remote. You can see everything. It's two-way.
Yes.
I could do it on an iPad or a tablet if I want to. I like the handheld remote. I can hold it in my hand, and ergonomically, I can move my thumb to the volume and the channel changer and the changing channels. And now that I'm figuring out where the list is, it's no longer a list button; it's a DVR button.
Right.
Once I'm figuring those things out, it's way cool. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there. There's a lot of great transformation. Let's bring it up to the current times. Step into the available technology of today's world, kind of a thing, and be prepared for it. Let's get the wires in place. Let's get the infrastructure in place. Let's have the discussion so that if you're doing it yourself, which is great, if you're doing it yourself as far as pulling the wires and those kind of things, no problem at all. We're happy to work with you on it. Just let us make sure that you're doing the right thing for proper operation and proper function. Nothing's more frustrating than a system that's sort of working.
Right. I mean, we're here to help, but you could trust us to do the job correctly.
Yeah.
But even if we're not doing the job, if you're doing it yourself, or you have a builder who says, don't worry, I got it handled, come in and talk to us.
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
Make sure that they have it handled.
Ed had a guy 2 Saturdays ago where he went over all the stuff, and the guy said, absolutely, the builder's taking care of me. He's going to do all this wiring. I came to see you. Did just what we talked about.
Yes.
I'm going to take care of it. It's all good. And then I know Friday he got a call from the guy who said, can you guys come out now that I've taken possession? Can you come out and actually do this stuff? And we go, wait a minute. The builder was
gonna
doing that last minute stuff.
Oh, no.
Turned out he never did it. So, right. So, and again, it is all stuff that he could have done in advance. All stuff he could have done very easily with no more effort, no more work than he had already put into it. Just
right.
Location-wise, everything was kind of goofed up. So, all right. That's it for me.
All right. That's it for me.
What do you think? All right. So the little guy's 191st and LaGrange Road where Mokina meets I-80. You can email us anytime, info@thelittleguys.com. You can call the store, 708-754-8844. We love your perspective. We want your comments. Please like us on Facebook or follow us on Facebook. And
I'm pretty sure it's still like.
Is it still like?
Yeah.
All right. Like or follow us.
But also, these podcasts are streamed live on Facebook, and then shortly thereafter, they're available on YouTube and also on our website.
You got it. You can click on the website and go to the old podcast. And the website's pretty cool. The product section's gonna be there. I'm not saying it again.
We keep saying that.
No more
we
dates.
keep saying that.
It is. I looked at the next to last revision. So one more little minor changes, and then it's going to be up and running hopefully in the next 10 days. And and you'll be able to look at products and scan things and see stuff on the website and buy them as well. So some of the products.
Yes.
Right. So that's it. We are the Little Guys. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for listening. We are out of here.
Bye-bye.